off, right. Hello. Okay, so Ireland Scotch Malt Whisky, apart from Ireland, done. Off you go. Thanks very much. Cheers for that. It was lovely seeing you. So before I started doing the big run of American whiskies, I was doing Highland whiskies, and I still had quite a few left to do. So because I've done so many American, I thought, right, I really should do some more Scotch. But then kind of, let's finish off Highland, break away and do some Canadian, then we'll do Irish and Japanese, then we'll do a big run of Speyside because there is a lot on that Speyside list, and then we'll get to the rest of it, and by that point we're going to be near Christmas and we're nearly at the end of the challenge. So I'm going to finish off the Highlands, and this one I actually got off my very good friends Chris and Lindsay Cook, who had yet more samples to offer me, of which this was in their selection. Now I've covered the distillery that this is from twice, because this is from the Loch Lomond distillery, which is here at Loch Lomond, funnily enough, and I'm sure I've done the Loch Lomond. If I've not done Loch Lomond by now, I have got it, but I definitely did the Inchmurrin, which was in my Q1 review. I think it was the most surprising. Just a fantastic whiskey, absolutely brilliant stuff. So this is Crofton. I'm going to presume it's Croftengea rather than Croftengea, because it's nowhere near Spain. And Croftengea is one of the other releases from the Loch Lomond distillery. So Loch Lomond itself was opened in 1964, founded in 1964 by previous owners of the Little Mill distillery. And also co-owned by Barton Brands, which is an American whiskey company. It was mothballed in 1984 and then reopened 3 years later by a company called Glencatrine, who are now known as the Loch Lomond Group. Now, Glencatrine were a blending company that needed a distillery to make to satisfy demand for particularly their High Commissioner brand. So they bought and reopened the Loch Lomond distillery. Now the Loch Lomond distillery has two pot stills, one coffee still, which doesn't make coffee. It's the name of, now I can never remember the guy's name. It's not Augustus Coffee, it's Aeneas Coffee, something like that, and 4 Lomond stills, which are the stills where it's half pot still and then half column still, which is where you've got the plates that you can open, and basically with this range of whiskies, it's the most versatile distillery out of all of the Scotch whisky distilleries, because they can do pretty much anything, and they need to, because they've got so many different brands and so many big selling blends across Europe. And they also do stuff like Glen's vodka, which is cheap and nasty vodka crap basically, but sells by the bucket loads because it's about 6-7 quid a bottle. So a lot of the whiskey that they make is going into the blends. Now they do, and I've got it in order in terms of the peatiness of their releases. So it starts at Loch Lomond, then you've got Inchmurrin, then Glen Douglas, Old Rostu, Craig Lodge, Inchmowan, Croftengea, and then Inchfad. So Croftengea is but the second most peatiest release that they do. Now, outside of Loch Lomond and Inchmurrin, the other brands, the other names, very, very difficult to find. And this particular one is bottling from the Scotch Malt Whisky Association. Now, I've not found a picture of it yet, and I can't open Chris's messenger when he took me a picture of it. So I'm going to put my finger up here, and hopefully there'll be a picture of the bottle of this particular one. Scotch Malt Whisky Association, Scotch Malt Whisky Society release their bottlings. They're like normally single cask strength, of which this is 59.4%, and they put codes on them to differentiate, and they also give them kind of odd names because they don't actually state where it's from. So this particular one is 122.16. What that means, no idea, haven't got a clue. Apparently, and again, because I can't see the picture of Chris's because I couldn't open it up, and I'm going to try again if I've actually got my iPod on me. I haven't got my iPod on me. Bear with me, because I was trying to find it, and basically Facebook Messenger wasn't working, and he'd sent me a picture. So I've looked, knowing what the alcohol percentage is, I've then put that into Google. Come on, loading older messages. Yes, go on with it. I've put that into Google in terms of Croftengea, Scotch Malt, SMWS, 59.4, and it's come up with this as a 15-year-old that was distilled in 1992 and bottled in 2008. Messenger is all over the place. So if it's not the one, Chris, I do apologise, but technology is screwing me over. It might not be the one, but I'm going to work off that, because there didn't seem to be any other Croftengea from the SMWF. So there was a couple of bottlings, but not one at 59.4%. So I'll go with that as a 15-year-old. So I've got some water ready as well. So yes, heavily peated from a very, very versatile distillery. Safe to say it's probably even at 15%, judging by whether you can see that. That's pretty pale. So I'm guessing, with it being a Scotch Malt Whisky Society bottling, that they've not added any colour and things like that to it as well. And I'm assuming it's single cask, because that's the sort of thing that they do. So quite a light colour, quite a white winey colour as well, actually, looking at this. It's not ideal with all the crap that's around this room being our kids' playroom, but it is very, very pale. Yeah, very much of kind of like a Chardonnay colour. Yeah, it's like an oaky Chardonnay colour. Now, that's interesting. What I also don't know is what it's been matured in. Whether it's bourbon casks, sherry casks, or the generic oak, as some labels do put on, very unhelpfully. But this is... oh, it's weird. Now, it is peaty, and it is medicinal, and it's less bonfire-y smokiness than... it's slightly wet wood and wet dog. And I should know, it's not rained today, but when Harley gets wet, it stinks. And slightly winey as well, like a dry white wine. And slightly minty and floral. And slightly antiseptic. There's some weird stuff on this nose. It's really unusual. There's loads of stuff going on here. I could sniff this all night. I'm not gonna, because we'll be here for hours. I've been 7 minutes already. I've not even got it in my mouth, but it's a really unusual nose. There's loads of different stuff going on. Some descriptions I've used probably sound quite unpleasant, but it's not. It's just the nearest I can get to what my nose is picking up. Yeah, it's slightly kind of toilety again, which I have used before, not that long ago. Which one did I use it where I said it was slightly toilety? And fortunately, the person that sent me the sample went, yeah, I got that as well. So thank God for that. But then there's wet dog and wet wood and pencil shavings and all sorts of crazy stuff going on in there. Right. Wowzers. So 59.4%, and doesn't really feel like it needs water on this mouthful. We'll see what happens on the second one. Lovely sweetness to it. There's a really nice, rich, almost marshmallowy feel to it. But then there's this gentle sweet smokiness, which again is slightly woody, slightly antiseptic, slightly smoky, but nothing's really overpowering one or the other. It's really delicate. Right at the end, I got a waft of cigarette ash in my mouth. And I'm always slightly off put by that. But I can get over it, I can get around it. And again, there's a dry white wine feel to it as well. There's bags of flavour in this. There's a really intense sweetness to it. And then the smoke comes through. And then it turns ashy. And then that dies down. It's quite fruity as well. It's like gooseberries and white grapes and white grape skins, but also chewing on the end of a pencil. What a weird whiskey. What a great whiskey. Really good. One of those whiskies where it's got so many things going on in it, it's really difficult to almost keep up with the damn thing. The smokiness isn't overpowering, but what it's doing is it's just bringing all these different flavours through. Like smoky bacon frazzles are now, I'm now getting them. You know frazzles? Maybe not if you're not from the UK. Smoky bacon crisps. Little crisps that are supposed to look like rashers of streaky bacon that smell awful and don't really taste that good, but by God you can't stop eating the damn things. Smoky bacon crisps, frazzles, that sort of thing. It's mad. Absolutely bonkers. I'll tell you what this reminds me of quite a bit. And Chris was asking about American whiskies because he doesn't really do American whiskies per se. And I've got a few bottles that I'm willing to share him, but I'm not sure the ones that I've got he'll particularly like because they're more, for want of a better word, mainstream bourbon. But I did recommend to him the Lost Spirits distillery because they do like their peated whiskey, Chris and Lindsay. And obviously this is his. This reminds me a lot of the Lost Spirits from California. The Leviathan 2 it was. The peated version, the peatiness that was coming through, the smokiness was really not overpowering, and it was bringing loads and loads of weird, unusual flavours through, and this is very similar. So Chris, if you like this, it's probably worth searching out a Lost Spirits Leviathan 2, because it really does remind me of that. And I love this for it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And it doesn't need water. 59.4%. I don't feel like it needs any water at all. I think it's fantastic. What I don't know is how much it is. I could only find it on a sale, an auction. And even then, they didn't even have the price on it. So I've no idea how much it was. Don't know how much it was. I'm going to say 100 quid. Finger in the air, that would be my guess. But that is very, very, very good. I have a little bit left and I may well be saving that for after the challenge is finished, because that is up there as one of the more unusual but very, very interesting whiskies indeed. That was fantastic. Chris, thank you very, very much for that. That was most unusual and very, very enjoyable. Right, that's me done. That took much longer than I thought it was going to be. So I shall clear everything up, make sure I've spilt no whiskey on the floor for the kids to get their hands on, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.